Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a Shop My Stash video. I did one of these for the first time a couple of months ago. You guys really seem to love it. I really enjoy doing it. Not only does this give me an opportunity to use the stuff that I already have in my collection that I already really love and I feel like I don't have enough opportunities to use, but it also helps out my wallet quite a bit because it makes me realize that I don't really need a lot of the new makeup that maybe might be catching my attention. But I hope that you guys are excited about this one. I'm hoping to do these videos about every 2 months. If you are new here, welcome. I hope that you will stick around and subscribe to my channel. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the things that I picked out from my stash. Right, you guys, so here is what I have picked out from my stash. Now, I know that a couple of you, the last time I did this, I heard a couple of people ask if I would show the selection process of doing this. I absolutely agree with that. I love watching those type of Shop My Stash videos where people kind of show them going through their collection and deciding on what they're going to pick out. I don't quite have the solution to how I would do that because I have my lighting in here is really tricky. I'm in kind of a small corner of our basement. I have a very bulky camera. It's kind of hard to move around, so I haven't quite figured out a way to do that yet. So this month we're going to just go with showing you guys what I picked out. I will work on that for a future Shop My Stash, see if I can get my area looking a little bit better. But for now, hopefully you guys are okay with this. But we better go ahead and get right into this. Starting with primer, I did pick out my Smashbox Primerizer. I mentioned to you guys how much I've been loving the Garnier Glow Boost Illuminating Moisturizer. I actually have that in my brush tin because I do use that pretty much every day. But I'm going to try and incorporate this into my routine as well. I do really enjoy this. I just think it's a little high priced for what it is, which is basically just a really nice moisturizer. I just think that you can find probably similar things to this for a much cheaper price. So I did also pick out this Cover FX Blurring Primer. I like this. I don't love it. And again, you guys, I'm not a huge primer person. So I think if you are really into primers, you might absolutely love this. I just don't notice the hugest difference when I use this, but I do want to get some use out of this before it expires. Moving into some foundations. First off is this thing right here. This is the Sephora 10 Hour Wear Foundation, the 10 Hour Wear Perfection Foundation. This I got in my recent Sephora haul. I've been loving this. I've been using it for the last week on and off and absolutely loving this. I'm going to continue to use it this month. Hopefully give you guys a more kind of full review and thoughts on this thing. Another foundation I wanted to pull in is this one right here. This is the Dew and Smooth by Maybelline. I really enjoy this foundation. I have it in the shade 118, which is actually an almost perfect shade match for me. This doesn't last super well on my skin, but for really light days when I'm just kind of running errands, this is a foundation that I often use, and I haven't used it for a while. I think the Flower Beauty has kind of replaced this for me, but I do still really love this foundation, so we're going to pull that in for this month. I also picked out the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. I like this foundation. It's a little bit heavy looking on my skin because I do have some large pores and texture. It's one of those foundations that looks good from like a modest distance, but if you're really up and in someone's face, for me, it's a little heavy looking on my skin. This is one I would recommend if you're doing like a photo shoot or something because it has fantastic coverage. It has that kind of skin-like finish, but it just can be a little bit heavy on my skin, so just keep that in mind. So I just picked this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation Stick Up from the drugstore last weekend. I've used it once. I'm still gathering my thoughts on it, so I want to keep using it this month. I might feature this in an upcoming video. I don't know, we'll see. I want to get as much use as I can out of this because I love the convenience of the stick foundation. I don't always love the way they look on my skin, but sometimes if I blend them really nicely, they look nice and they are just so convenient. So this one I'm going to give a good use this month and see how I feel about it. Wasn't quite sure when to mention this product. This is the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I'm going to definitely get more use out of this month. This is one I really want to get a good feel of really how this works for my skin. So far I really love it, but I will keep you guys updated because I did also mention I want to give this a good comparison against the Milani Soft Focus Glow because a lot of people have been saying that's a dupe. I also own that one, but first I want to make sure I get a good use out of this before I compare it to that other one. Moving into a few concealers. First off, the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I may have had this in my bin last month, but this is probably one of my most holy grail concealers. I absolutely love this thing. Even though it's high end, I feel like it's a good value, so I'm not hesitant to reach for it even on just like an everyday basis. I have it in the shade Vanilla, which is a pretty much perfect shade match for me. It's not very brightening for under the eyes for me, but everywhere else this matches me perfectly. I also pulled in these two Fit Me concealers. These are just about expired. I really need to try and use these up, and they are getting close to being gone. I have the shade Light and the shade Sand Beige, 10 and 20. I'm going to try and get some use out of these this month and hopefully finish one or two of them off. I'm also going to keep in this cream bronzer. I've been loving this, and it's more just the technique of a cream bronzer that I've been loving. I do think this is a good one. It lasts pretty well on my skin. It's a nice undertone for me. It says it's a contour, but I would definitely consider this a bronzer. I know I've talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to over-explain, but I'm just going to keep this in my stash this month until I pick up that Milk Makeup bronzer, which I'm hoping comes back in stock very soon. I picked up this IT Cosmetics CC Illumination Airbrush Perfecting Powder. Ooh, that's a mouthful. I picked it up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I've not tried this out a ton yet. I'm not a huge fan of powder products, so I think it's kind of funny that I did decide to pick this up. But on occasion, I will reach for a powder, especially in the summertime if it's a very hot day and I want to set my makeup down. I thought this could be a good option for me, especially because it does have a bit of an illumination, like luminosity to it. It's pretty subtle, and I will definitely say this is probably a good match for me in the summertime. But I want to try and get some use out of this and kind of gather my thoughts on it as someone that is not typically a powder person. There goes Charlie again with the blocks. I'm sorry, guys. I also pulled in this Kosas Blush Duo. I've really been enjoying this over the last several days, and yeah, I want to continue to use it and gather my thoughts on it. So far, so good. Also pulled in the Nudestix Sunkissed stick. This is beautiful. I did just film my Something Old Something New video that I talked about yesterday. Loved how that look turned out. I'm still trying to figure out the very best way for me to apply this, so I will keep you guys posted. I really loved how that look turned out in that video, but I kind of was going back and forth on whether I should use the brush, whether I should use my finger. I think I've come to the conclusion that I like using this with my finger the most, but I'll continue to try other brushes, figure out the best way to use this. But as far as the color and the formula goes, this is really, really beautiful. Two highlights I pulled in: Precious Petals by Wet n Wild. One of my favorites, especially when I start to get a little bit more tan. I especially love this for kind of like my collarbone, or if I'm wearing shorts. I'll rarely put this on my legs, but sometimes on like a special occasion, if I'm wearing shorts, I'll put this kind of along down the front of my legs. But it's beautiful. If you like intense highlighters, this is a good one from the drugstore that is super affordable. Also pulled in the Stila Heaven's Hue highlighter, one of my favorites. This one took me a while to fall in love with, but it is really beautiful and super subtle on the skin. If you like a subtle highlight, this is definitely one I would go with. This is in the shade Brilliance, which is kind of a peachy gold. Very pretty on a slightly tanned skin, but it also works for fair skin. It's not overly dark, but it just has a little bit of a gold sheen to it. Very beautiful. And of course I had to pull in the Super Glow from Natasha Denona. This I picked up during the Sephora sale. Been loving this. I'm really excited to have this in my collection, and I really want to get good use out of this month. Then I did put this in this bin. I actually leave this sitting on top of my makeup desk. This and Smoke and Whistles, which is also by ColourPop. This is Flexitarian. I use this almost on a daily basis. If not on my cheekbones, I use this on my inner corner. This is one of my most used products. It's just super multi-purpose. It's very beautiful. You can build it up for some super intense beaming highlight, or you can be very subtle with it. I really, 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 really have grown to love this highlighter. Moving into some blushes, I pulled in the L'Oreal Infallible Cheeky Dimension Blush Stick. This is the one I featured in my glassy skin video. I really have been enjoying this. I think it's a beautiful springy summer color. It's very nice and peachy. I really like the formula of this. It's not overly dewy. It's definitely not as dewy as the Kosas is, but it does have a nice creamy semi-matte finish. As for powder blushes, I wanted to pull this one in. This is the Flower Beauty Warm Hibiscus, which has a really soft, beautiful kind of sheen to it. It's so pretty. It's a beautiful pink blush. Love this for spring and summer. It looks so beautiful on top of a little bit of a tan. Then I pulled in the Physicians Formula Butter Highlight. This one is in the shade Plum Rose. I don't even know if they make this shade anymore. It's super subtle. When I really load this up on my brush, this gives my cheeks the prettiest, softest, almost like glow from within kind of look. And more than anything, I just love the smell. And since I took the butter bronzer out, I felt like I had to put this in because I can't in the summertime not have one of the butter products in my collection because I just enjoy smelling them more than anything. But they really are beautiful products as well. I want to pick up a couple more shades of this. I don't need more blushes right now. Moving on to this blush. This is from MAC. This is the color Modern Mandarin. This is a very vivid orange blush. It looks so pretty with certain looks. This is a true orange rather than my typical kind of peach blush, which is what I typically reach for. But it's very fun. I really want to try and get some use out of this one as well. Let me swatch Modern Mandarin for you guys. You can see just how intense that is. Look at that. You probably can't tell on camera. It's pretty vibrant orange, but so fun. This blush inspires me. This blush makes me feel like JLo when I wear it. It's so pretty. It has the prettiest kind of golden bronzy but somewhat rosy sheen to it. Such a good one. If you want a good glowy summertime blush, that's one of my favorites. Oh, I also forgot to mention, this is the NYX Dark Circle Corrector for under the eyes. This is in the medium shade. I wanted to pull this in and see if this will help to conceal melasma. This is the time of year when I start to get that cursed melasma mustache that kind of plagues me in the summertime. And no matter how much sunscreen I put on, I struggle with that. So I'm hoping this might help me to conceal that just a little bit. We're going to try it out and see if it helps. Moving over to some eyebrow stuff, some mascara. I have the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise. This one's getting near expiration, so I need to get some use out of this. I am so conflicted on this mascara. Some days I use it and I think, wow, this is the best mascara I've ever used. And then there are other days I use it and I struggle with it on my eyelashes. Like, it's a little finicky for me. So it's very hit and miss with me. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about this mascara. For the most part, I think it's very good, but it just doesn't seem to be super consistent with me and sometimes just gives me a little bit of trouble. I also have in here the BFF mascara from ColourPop. This is a really good mascara, but it does flake on me. So this is a mascara for like a date night when I only need it to last for a few hours. This is not a good all-day mascara, but I love the way it makes my lashes look. For my eyebrows, I pulled in the ColourPop Brow Boss. This is the older one I have that's kind of falling apart and it's almost gone, but I want to try and finish it up this month. And then I also pulled this thing in. I use this thing nearly every day, so I had to put it in the bin. I also want to continue to use this iconic London eyebrow cushion. And then I pulled in my e.l.f. Brow Wax Stick, one of my favorite, most used products. I'll also take a brow setter. This is just the Essence Make Me Brow, which I'm probably about more than halfway done with. I'm going to see if I can make a further dent in this and use this up in the next several months. I probably should have mentioned the bronzer products while I was talking about the face products, but I had them over by my eyeshadows. I'm also going to pull in the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in the color Diffused Bronze Light. I did just pick this up in the Sephora sale. Talked about it in a recent video how when they say mini, this is mini. So here is this bronzer, which is almost just a hair bigger than my MAC eyeshadow. It's quite small, but this is a gorgeous bronzer. I've been using it for about 3 or 4 days now. Absolutely loving it. Very excited to have this in my collection. Wish I would have picked up the full size. Then I pulled in this bronzer. This is from Wet n Wild. This is their Sunset Strip Tease bronzer. I really do like this bronzer. It's not like my favorite bronzer, but I want to get some more use out of it. I feel like it's relatively new to me, so I feel like we could still get to know each other a little bit better. So I'm going to pull that one in as well. And that is the exact reason I also pulled in this guy. This is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic. I do really like this bronzer. Because it was so expensive, I don't reach for it very often, which is kind of backwards, but that's just the way my mind thinks. But I am trying to force myself to use this a little bit more, and as I use it more, I do fall in love with it more. And holy cow, do those not look almost identical to each other? Okay, if you're looking for a dupe for this, I'm telling you guys, this one, in person, they look almost identical to each other. That is very interesting. I did not know that until this moment. Well, one more I pulled in last minute because in the intro to this video, the makeup look that I was wearing, I pulled out this thing. This came in BoxyCharm last year. This is the Pure Cosmetics Sculptor Palette. These bronzers, they're a little bit dark. You have to be careful with how you use them, but they're actually really pretty. I used just a touch of this one to kind of add a tiny bit of contour and then go on top of it with this bronzer. I'm going to pull that in this month, even though I have way too many bronzers this month, which I am just realizing. And the last bronzer product is this one. This is the Smashbox Cali Contour Kit. I picked this up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, days before I went on my no-buy. Was so excited to get this because this has been on my wish list for a long time. I've really been enjoying it. I really love how these look on the skin. They blend out very nicely. I love the shades in here. I especially love this blush, which surprised me because I don't know, I didn't buy this for the blush, but the blush might be one of my favorite things in here. I do like this highlight. I don't get a lot of use out of this bronzy shimmery color right there, but I'm sure I could use it as an eyeshadow. And we do have quite a bit of traveling baseball tournaments coming up in the summertime, so this is something that I probably will really take with me when I travel. For eyeshadows, I want to start off with some singles that I grabbed. So I first grabbed out this one. This is MAC's Satin Taupe. I love this color. This is like one of my original MAC purchases, along with my MAC 217 brush and MAC's Margin, was this eyeshadow. It is a beautiful, beautiful color. Do they still make this? I hope they do, because it's kind of a grayish purple. So pretty. I love this one. I haven't used it for probably over a year. I want to try and get some use out of it. Also pulled in this Stila Glitter Glow. This is in the shade Admiral. This one I picked up at Marshall's. Yeah, at Marshall's. It's very pretty. It's very kind of like blue and mermaidish, which is not something I wear very often. But it's so pretty, I want to force myself to wear this. In fact, I'm thinking of maybe using this in an upcoming video along with this palette, which I pulled back in this month. This is the Friendcation palette. I love this palette. I didn't get quite enough use out of it last time because I started doing those Juvia's Place videos and really prepping for that series of videos, and so I kind of stopped using my other eyeshadow palettes. But I really, really want to try out this blue. I do not love how blue eyeshadow looks on me, and blue is one of those colors, of all the colors in the rainbow, blue intimidates me the most when it comes to eyeshadows, but I want to force myself to try and use this shade perhaps alongside this shade. I think that might be a really fun combination. Let's like put them on top of each other and see what that looks like. Hold on. Like, I think that could be so fun on the eye. Oh my gosh, yeah. Look how pretty that is. So yeah, I might try that out. Would you guys like to see that on camera? Me trying out a blue eyeshadow look? Let me know. But I am also excited to keep trying this. I had a couple people recommend doing a 7 looks using this palette. I might actually do that because those videos, you guys really seem to love those videos. I really enjoy doing them. And I think this would be a fun palette to do it with because it's not overly large, but I think there's more variety in this palette than maybe you would first think. So that may be something that I have coming up in the next couple of months. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. I also pulled in the Through My Eyes palette by Dose of Colors and I Love Sarai. This is such a pretty palette. I really fell in love with this when I first bought it. I used it for like 5 days straight, which that's a long time for me to use one eyeshadow palette because I love jumping between palettes. But I haven't used it since then, and I really want to get more use out of this. It's just such a fun, inspiring, soft, colorful palette. I don't know, it's soft, but it's also bold at the same time. I really think this is such a fun palette. I want to really try and use these green colors. Then I pulled in this one. So this came in BoxyCharm last month. I've used it a few times. I've swatched it several times. I just think this is such a fun, colorful eyeshadow palette. These glitters are super fun. I mean, I did just kind of put these on with my finger once. You need a glitter glue for these. Very fun palette for summer. Very excited to keep using this one. One more eyeshadow palette. I pulled in one more of the Huda Beauty palettes. I wasn't sure which one to get, but I had quite a few warm tones in here, so I pulled in the Smoky Obsessions palette. If I want a cool tone look, this is one of the first palettes I will reach for. I would really love to own all of these. I don't need all of these, but I would love to own all of these by Huda Beauty. Really quickly, I also pulled in a gel liner. I've kind of been getting somewhat back into gel liners lately. I don't do it often, but I love the look of a gel liner on occasion. It looks so different than a pencil liner. We are down to the very last corner here. I have my lip products. I pulled in 2 of these Bite Beauty lip liners. I picked these up during the Sephora sale. These are great lip liners. They were super discounted. I want to say that I got these for like $6 or $7 a piece, which is fantastic. I have this bold, bright, out of swatch room, red one. So nice. I rarely find a red pencil that doesn't have a pink undertone to it. This is a true orangey red, which I am so happy to have in my collection because you guys know how I feel about my orangey reds. If I'm wearing a red, it usually will be an orangey red. And the shade on that one is number 74. I also have this one in the shade 008. This is just a much more kind of pinky nude. Oh, beautiful shade. Love this pencil. A few lipsticks I pulled in. I grabbed this Persona liquid lipstick in the color Holy Grail. This is just her matte red lipstick. This truly is a perfect red. I really love this. I haven't worn it a ton yet, but I do love having a nice perfect red. I also pulled in this one right here. This is Truffle Tease. I just did a video wearing this color with, I think I had was it Max Whirl? I can't remember what lip liner I had underneath it, but this with a lip gloss that I'm going to mention in a sec on top is the most perfect. It's a brown nude for someone that's somewhat afraid of brown colors on their lips. I don't typically think brown tones look very good on me, but this one has just enough pink in it that I can pull it off. Perfect nude color. I also pulled in this from ColourPop. This is the color Layover. This one is kind of has quite a bit more kind of peachy pink in it. It's somewhat similar to that one, but quite a bit more pink toned. Very nice medium to light toned nude. I really like the ColourPop cream formula. Also pulled this one back in. This is one of my all-time favorite lipsticks. This is 370 Jennifers Nude from L'Oreal. I don't know if they still make these. These are their exclusive collection. I love this color. So you can see how little I have left. I already have a backup of this. And I rarely do this to lipsticks. So that just tells you how much I love this lipstick. I also pulled in a couple of glosses. First off, this one, which is kind of a mix between a lip gloss and also just a cream lipstick. This is the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit High Shine Lipstick in the color Peach Stole My Look. This is a very kind of a soft, like peachy pink. I love the formula of these. The color Said Nudes is one of my favorites. It's actually living inside my purse still. But I love this one if I want a little bit more of a brightening kind of pink look on my lips, which I think is looks really nice in the summertime if you have a pop of pink on the cheeks, a little bit of a tan, and a pink lip. I love that look. I think it's kind of very youthful and timeless. I also pulled back in this Marc Jacobs Enamored Lip Gloss in the color Uproar. This is just kind of a golden peach color. It's quite sheer, but these are so pretty on the lips. I picked this up at Marshall's. If you didn't see my What I Found at Marshall's video, it was quite a while ago, so you probably can't find that stuff there anymore, but I found some good stuff there, and this was one of my favorite finds. And then last, to go along with that truffle tease that I swatched down here, is this. This is Madeline by NYX, one of their butter glosses. One of my favorite colors. This color doesn't get talked about nearly as much as it should, but if you like creme brulee and you're looking for something a little bit less pink, this is the perfect, can you see it? This is the perfect color. Such a beautiful lip gloss under any lipstick. Anything from medium to light in tone. Whether it's pink or peach or kind of brown toned, this would go really well on top of. And I believe that we are done. I think that is everything, right? Yes. Alright you guys, and that is it for today's Shop My Stash video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment below so I know that you guys want to see me continue to film these every couple of months. Thank you guys all for stopping by today, for watching this video. I hope that you will subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye!